Hello and welcome to the VegasOdds YouTube channel for our big fight preview for the huge bout taking place this weekend in Las Vegas between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. It's the trilogy fight. It'll be streamed live on ESPN pay-per-view and I will be breaking down the fight with my good friend Joe. Joe, how are you doing?
I am very well. Can't wait for the big fight.
It's going to be an exciting night for sure. Before we get stuck into anything else, I'll break down the odds for us. So Tyson Fury is 1-3 on to win the fight this weekend. Deontay Wilder is at 9-4. And then you've got the draw, which was very contentious in the first fight, at 25-1.
Well, I think we touched on this slightly on the last episode in regards to, yes, it's a big fight. I'm looking forward to it. But we obviously wanted the AJ Fury fight. Slightly disappointed in one way. However, it's still a big fight, isn't it? Obviously, you got the biggest puncher in the division with Wilder, and you got Fury, who's technically the best in the division, and he's the man with the belt now, isn't he? So it's an intriguing fight, and I can't wait.
I think it's actually more interesting the closer we are getting to the fight. So a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't really excited about it at all, but now we're on fight week. I can feel like the anticipation for it just building and building and building, because we need to have this third fight now just to kind of shut Wilder up, really.
Fury need to shut Wilder up once and for all. If he wins this, there is no way back for Wilder. And the question is he doing this for the money? Does he actually want to win this fight? Obviously, we find out on the night. I personally just think he's doing it for the money now.
I do think that's a really interesting point. I can't remember who said it, but they were saying that they don't know whether Wilder's took this fight mainly out of pride, just because he wants to kind of look like he's trying to get the titles back. Whereas really I thought we've kind of gone past it. The second fight was pretty conclusive.
Exactly. He got battered for 7 rounds basically, didn't he? He didn't really lay a glove on Fury, I don't think. And thank God for his trainer, he got him out there, because if he didn't, it could have been much worse.
Well, it's interesting as well, because he blamed the trainer for the defeat, one of his many excuses for losing the fight. And obviously he parted with the trainer and got a new trainer. Do you think that's going to have any kind of impact?
I think it could have a big impact, really, because the trainer that he has got in is Alex Scott. In terms of training, he's very new to the game. He's only just recently retired from being a professional boxer. He's very inexperienced as a trainer. That's not exactly who you need in the biggest fight of your career. You need someone experienced who's been there before. So it's a big risk from Wilder. Obviously, they're good mates, they get on, but you need someone who's experienced and has been there before. So
most important, it's someone's going to look after your well-being like the old trainer did. He got him out of there in one piece, so to speak.
Precisely. That's exactly what you needed. It was a good stoppage. Obviously, Wilder wasn't happy with the stoppage, and which is why he got rid of him. But you can't complain about that. He was looking after his well-being. It could have been much worse. Will Alex Scott do that? We don't know, because, like I say, he's never been in that situation before.
It feels like a lifetime ago since we saw them in the ring for the very first time back in 2018. Even on that occasion, Joe, I thought Fury was the winner on the night.
Yeah, I think in that fight, I had Fury winning the fight, I think about 2-3 rounds. And like I say, even with the heavy knockdown in the 12th, he came back fighting, didn't he? I can't see how Wilder thinks he can win this.
And I think the most interesting thing about that, we saw Wilder hit Fury with his best shot and Fury got up. I don't know if that's going to have a psychological impact coming into this fight, because we all know he's a heavy hitter. He's going to beat most heavyweights, but obviously Fury stood up.
When you've hit someone with the best shot and they're still getting up, bearing in mind this is the biggest puncher in the division, thinking how is this guy getting up? Especially how he's knocked out all his previous opponents. That's his one tool in the box, and if that's not working, what else is he going to do? He's got no plan B, because he can't box.
No, and I think that's very kind of fit into the odds, because you look at the odds and a Wilder win on points is around 20-1, which is it is ridiculous. So the longer the fight goes, it feels like there's only one possible result, and that's Fury to win on points. But you look at Wilder's record, so it's 42, 1 draw, 1 defeat. 41 of his wins have come by knockout. I mean, If he's going to win, it's going to come one way, isn't it?
Exactly, that is the only way he's going to win. Like I say, with Wilder, he got into boxing late, so that's one of the reasons I think why he's not very technically gifted. He has just got that one punch, biggest puncher in the division, and if he hits him again, he probably might get up again. Knowing Fury, that's the thing. So that's his only chance, but I can't see him winning it personally.
It's just got so ugly, this build-up. I don't know if it's dampened kind of the expectation a little bit. Originally 3 dates in 2020 where it was meant to take place. You had it in July, October, December, and then Fury walked away, didn't he, for the unification with Joshua. And then we had the very contentious arbitration hearing, which ruled in Wilder's favour, meaning we had to have the third fight. It was meant to be in July. It got pushed back again to October. Do you think this is going to have any kind of negative impact on Fury's preparation for it?
Potentially. You could look at it 2 ways. Potentially especially because obviously it has been such a long wait. Has he been keeping in the gym? Has he been making sure he's been keeping fit? And also, personal look at it as well, he has had an issue with his daughter. His newborn daughter was in hospital, so he wasn't training then. That was only a couple of months ago. The flip side is, obviously he was out the ring, 28 stone was it? Came back and he drew against Wilder in the first fight, so he has been in this situation before, hasn't he? I'm not that concerned about Fury. Whereas Wilder, has he been in this situation where there's been a long gap?
I do think that is possibly the only way Fury doesn't win this fight. If he's not prepared in the same kind of way he was for the second one, that's where he loses this. If
he's not fully focused, if he has had the correct preparations in his training camp, then that's the only way I think Wilder has a chance. If Fury's on his A game, it should be a conclusive victory again.
I was speaking to somebody earlier actually, and they made a pretty decent point that Fury's always excelled chasing the titles. He's never actually defended the world title. This would be the first time, and I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, that is a good point, because obviously he beat Klitschko, didn't he? And then he didn't return for over 2 years, came back and he had to win it again. So yeah, this is the first time. I've never really thought about that actually. So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to that, being the champion going into the fight.
I think in his mind, his retirement fight was the Joshua fight for all the titles, and that would have been it. And obviously I think this trilogy fight, along with the Joshua defeat against Usyk, kind of changes it a little bit, and I don't know if it's kind of maybe affected him like emotionally, but I don't know if he's emotionally invested in this fight anymore.
See, that's another good point. He would have been preparing for the AJ fight for quite a while, wouldn't he, in training camp, and then suddenly you've got a fight that he don't really want to take. Is he prepared mentally for this? There's a lot of questions to be answered. The second fight, like I say, so conclusive, and the way he's dealt with issues across his career and how he's dealt with them, it just gives me a lot of confidence going into the fight, and I think he's got a very good chance.
That's kind of like his battles inside the ring as well as outside the ring, isn't it? Like, he's a fighter in every kind of sense of the word.
Obviously, he's been fighting mental health, which he still fights obviously today. And the only thing that ensures he stays on top is just making sure there's a regime in place and he's active. Once he's out of boxing, I think he could struggle. So
let's get your prediction then, Joe. What are you going to go for with your bit of money on this fight?
I got my last one wrong, so I need to get this one right. 7th round knockout last time, wasn't it? That was stoppage.
Yeah.
So I do think it'll be another stoppage for Fury. I'm going to go with the first 8. I'm playing it safe. First 8 rounds, stoppage for Fury.
There's playing it safe, and then there's playing it ridiculously safe. That is very safe. Of course, I'm 1 from 1. Obviously, I predicted the Usyk on points in the last show. In this one, I just think you can't beat Fury. I think all-round heavyweight, I think that we've seen in our lifetimes. He's strong defensively, he's got great footwork, he's got power with both hands. He's normally very, very true to his word, and he's been speaking up all throughout the media that he's been doing that he's going to end it quicker than he did back in 2020. So I think Fury is going to win in round 5, and that is a 12-1 shot.
You're picking the round as well.
I'm getting very cocky with it after one win.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a good shout. The only thing I will say is this will be the second time he'll be with Sugar, won't he? His new trainer. So it could work. I mean, I can see it happening. I just thought I'd play it safe this time. So,
closing thoughts on the fight then, Joe. It is a huge, huge fight. Obviously, we both got Fury wing it, but where do we go after that? What is next?
It's got to be the winner of AJ and Usyk. I was talking to my friends the other week. Even if Usyk wins that fight, so obviously you'd have Fury against Usyk. You've still got 2 very good matchups there. Fury, Usyk, both technically gifted against, and then you've got Wilder and AJ, the 2 knockout artists. 2 very good fights on your hands there. I'm excited either way, whoever wins.
I think we're going to see Dillian Whyte get his title shot first before we see Fury against Usyk or Joshua. I think Dillian Whyte gets his mandatory shot long last, because he's been a long wait for that.
Is it the WBC he's mandatory for?
Yes, yeah.
So that's Fury's bout, isn't it?
Yeah, so we'll be taking on Fury, I think, early next year, all being well.
With Whyte as well, he's improved so much over the years, so that'll be an interesting one.
But he's also got a sticky task in a couple of weeks, because he's going to be taking on Otto Wallin, obviously in London. Yes. I think that's a huge fight for him, because obviously he held his own against Fury in between the 2 Wilder fights.
Not only did he hold his own, Fury was beating him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one. I think after Whyte lost to Povetkin, he's going to be on it for this fight. No mistakes. I can see him getting a stoppage.
We've got a lot to look forward to, though. I think we're going to be back definitely in November, because we've got Canelo coming up. As for now, we hope that everyone enjoys the fight this weekend. It's sure to be a spectacle in Las Vegas. Thank you, Joe, for your time, and thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.